Let's talk about Tai Tuivasa, because I think on Saturday he missed the boat. I think he missed the trick with this one. When I saw him in the middle of the octagon with DC and he was doing his interview, I was thinking, where is the Tuivasa? Where is the Tuivasa? Because there is no better platform than now. There's no better platform than when you've just beaten the number 3 in the world, heavyweight contender, the man with the most KOs, and one of the most violent men the UFC has ever seen. You've just KO'd him in spectacular fashion. Where's the Tuivasa, Tai? Where's the Tuivasa? I should have had it in the post-press conference. He said it's coming out next week. No, get onto the boys in the factory, bring that back a week or two and have it released even on the day, because the sales would have been off the charts and the platform would have been off the charts, because you think how many people see that clip. That one clip, that one interview, and this is why Mike Bisping always talks about it being your big shot to do and call what you like, because that one clip is broken up and dispersed into the atmosphere, into the internet ether, and it is seen by quite literally hundreds of millions of people. So I think that's something to work on next time, the marketing tips behind it all. But looking at his actual fight, because it was such an interesting one. I have seen a lot of it online. It was impressive KO, a lot of clips, but not a lot of people are talking about the performance, because the fight itself was actually very interesting. If you think back to what happened, Derrick Lewis started wrestling, which when you think about it is a pretty good idea for Derrick Lewis, because obviously he is incredibly strong and jiu-jitsu doesn't work on him. Jiu-jitsu doesn't work on Derrick Lewis. So when he's on the floor, the downside for him is someone reversing and getting to their feet, because if they take his back, if they have any sort of control on top, he gets up. He just gets up. So Derrick Lewis is very anti-jiu-jitsu. So his risk to reward's actually very good for wrestling. And given any position that he can just land 1 or 2 shots, no matter the angle, no matter the torque that he can get on the shot, the chances of you going to sleep are very high. So it was a pretty good game plan, to be fair, especially for someone as fast as Tuivasa, especially for someone that likes to utilise that low kick, just getting it on the hips and take him down. But Tai did well. Tai did well getting to his feet. And like I said, you know that you're going to have to probably eat one or several getting to your feet. And he did. He did. And I was holding my breath, because there's a lot of people that have a great chin. There's a lot of people in the heavyweight division that have a great chin. And I know Tai likes to bang. And I know that he just loves to scrap. But in my head, I'm thinking, no, that's all well and good. But this is still Derrick Lewis. And it doesn't matter your chin. It's like with Ngannou. It doesn't matter your chin. You can get put to sleep, but he ate some shots. The boy ate some shots. It was crazy to see. I was gonna say wild. This is what I'm saying. My brain's getting scrambled when I think about it, because when you actually think on paper what happened, he stood in the pocket and traded with Derrick Lewis and just planted his feet and fought his way back to his feet from the takedown attempt, just throwing heavy leather. When have we ever seen that with Derrick Lewis? When have we ever seen that? We look at the people capable of doing that. We look at Francis Ngannou. He didn't even want to do that, because your chances of winning the fight when you sit in the pocket with Derrick Lewis decline significantly. So it's not worth the trouble. The juice is not worth the squeeze. But Tai Tuivasa, man, that's impressive. That's seriously impressive. And that Street Fighter background that he's got, I love that. I love watching that. It's such a fascinating style, because they tend to operate so well in that clinch, in that close proximity where you typically see a street fight. You see punches from weird angles, and they can just throw from the hips, really, in not always the most aesthetic of shots, but effective ones that people struggle to see. You look at people like D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez, love watching him. Similar sort of striking technique, but you see as well, they're bolting onto that nice jabs. They're bolting onto that Muay Thai. So they've still got that unorthodox look, but they're adding clean striking on as well, which is super exciting. Obviously, Jorge Masvidal is probably an obvious one as well. And Tai's, like I said, Muay Thai Tuivasa. The clinch work is so good, and it made sense for Tai. It made sense because a lot of people forget he's 6'2" and he cuts to 265. He's a massive heavyweight. So we know that Derrick Lewis's cardio is always questionable. So to take a bit of pop and sting out the arms was always a good idea. And then to even just stand there and take a couple of shots is crazy. But as he said in an interview, he was Mark Hunt's punching bag for quite some time. So you're going to have to get used to that. You're going to have to get used to that, because if you're not getting used to taking bombs, then Mark Hunt's going to clean you out in training a few times. So the sky is the limit for Tai Tuivasa, and I think that's the important thing, really, that he doesn't go away and go back to Australia and do a bit of a victory lap for 5-6 weeks and fall in love with that a bit too much. I think Dubai is good for him. I think that his base is good when it's there. It's away from distraction. It's away from home, because he's a massive celebrity. I'll go as far to say he's bordering superstar sort of fame now, especially in Australia. So I think that if he gets back to Dubai sharpish and just keeps his head down, but still keeping that innate sense of him as well, I think the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. You can see and hear in his interviews now, he's loving the process of grappling and learning how to wrestle and adding those things onto his game. So it's super interesting. It's super, super interesting, because those Pacific Islanders, they are no joke. They are no joke. Now, I know that he doesn't necessarily look like the best athlete. He doesn't look like a Francis Ngannou, but the genetics of those Islanders, of those Samoans, those Fijians, the endurance, the strength, the cardio, like I said, the pure athleticism is crazy. And don't be fooled by his rig. Don't be fooled, because he's a serious athlete. And when he starts bolting all these things onto his game, it gets very interesting. Now, what's next? I'm not too sure. We're now having the conversations of the Cyril Gahns, the Stipes, the John Joneses. It's crazy, but I'd say he's one fight away from a title fight, or if not, potentially in some crazy world he gets thrown into the interim fight. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm excited for it. I'm massive on the Tai Tuivasa train. I've been watching him for a little bit. He's been super exciting. He came into the UFC with a flying knee at heavyweight. That puts you on the map instantly. He dropped off a little bit, but he had a 3-fight skid. But what you have to remember, he's 27. He's 27. You could chuck 10 years on that, and potentially you could argue he's near his prime for heavyweight. So the sky's the limit. He's got years in the game. I'm excited to see what's next. But let me know what you think in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed the content, please hit the subscribe and the like, and get involved with the comments. Like I said, help the video out. We're closing near 500 subscribers now, which is quite crazy to me, because I remember the first 100 was so difficult to get, which is always the way apparently on this YouTube malarkey. So anyway, as always, take care.